All right, in this video, I will read the article for you if you'd like in checkpoint 5 and explain what to do after you've read the article or watched me read it. So I'll skip through this for now and then show you what to do after. And here is the article. The article shows a picture here and it says this is the back wing of an emperor butterfly, which is a rare blue color. Many butterflies from the Morphogenus have blue wings like this picture here. We all know that the blue sky and blue ocean might tell us that color blue is really common because we see it so much, but it's actually not common in nature at all. In rocks, plants, flowers, and the fur, feathers, scales, and skins of animals, blue is actually a very rare color. And the reason it's rare is because the chemistry and physics of color production and how we actually see colors. So this section is called Wave of Light, and it says, light is a form of energy that travels in waves. The type of light that humans can see is visible light. Different colors of light have different wavelengths, and wavelength is the distance between two of the highest points called crests, or two of the lowest points called troughs on a wave. The wavelengths of visible light range from 400 nanometers, which is violet or purple, to 700 nanometers, which is red, meaning that's the only colors and wavelengths of light that we can see. Objects appear as different colors because of the way they interact with light. An object will absorb or take in some of the light that falls on it. The rest of the light will reflect or bounce off the object. That reflected light reaches our eyes, which have 6 million and 7 million light-sensitive cells called cones. Cells are the basic building blocks of all living things. There are 3 different types of cones. Remember, those are the cells that let us see color in the eye. Each of them detect a wavelength of light, either red, green, or blue. The cones then send information to our brains, which interprets that light and lets us see them as different colors, interacting with light. This picture is a cornflower. Blue color helps attract certain pollinators. And with those right here, those flowers, they're an example that you see them as blue, and the reason is they absorb the red part of the spectrum. Said Kai Kupferschmidt. He's a science writer and the author of Blue, In Search of Nature's Rarest Color. The light that reaches our eyes is the blue part of the spectrum. That's why we see it as blue. The cornflower can only absorb red light because of the chemical it produces. These chemicals are large and complex, but they are able to absorb a small amount of energy. Red light has less energy than blue light. Producing such complicated chemicals isn't easy for plants. There are around 300,000 flowering plants, but less than 30,000 of them, which is only 10%, have blue flowers. Chemicals that absorb red wavelengths are rare for minerals, too. Minerals are naturally occurring solids with a certain chemical composition. The chemicals that make up minerals have an orderly arrangement of atoms and molecules known as a crystal structure. When ions, which are charged atoms or molecules, interact with this crystal structure, some wavelengths are absorbed, they go into it, some are reflected and bounce off. The mineral lapis lazuli contains ions made up of 3 sulfur atoms bound together inside a crystal lattice. This grouping of atoms can bind and release a single electron. As this happens, there's also a release of some energy, and that energy is what causes the color blue. Blue is even more rare in mammals. Animals that are blue do not get their color from chemical pigments. They rely on physics instead. Butterflies in the Morphogenus have blue wings. They have complex layered structures on their wing scales, and they only reflect blue light. A similar effect happens in the feathers of blue jays. It also happens with the scales of blue tangs and the flashing rings of venomous blue-ringed octopus. These are Spix macaws, this picture. They get their blue color from the structure in their feathers that scatter light rather than pigments. Blue shades in mammals are even rarer than in birds, fish, reptiles, and insects. Some whales and dolphins have bluish skin. Primates such as golden snub-nosed monkeys have blue-skinned faces, and mandrills have blue faces and blue rear ends. But fur, a trait shared by most land terrestrial mammals, is never naturally bright blue in visible light. Scientists recently found that platypus fur grows in vivid shades of blue and green when exposed to UV ultraviolet rays, which is a form of light not visible to us humans. Precious. Because of blue's scarcity in nature, it is a high status color for thousands of years. The earliest use of blue dye dates to about 6,000 years ago in Peru. Ancient Egyptians combined silica calcium oxide and copper oxide to create a long-lasting blue pigment known as ertuyu, which I'm not even sure I'm pronouncing correctly. Pigment is a material that produces a color depending on which wavelengths of visible light it absorbs and which it reflects. Ultramarine is a vivid blue pigment found from the lapis lazuli and was precious. It was as precious as gold in medieval Europe. Using blue dyes happened late in most cultures, said Kupferschmidt. Even the word for blue started appearing after the words for black, white, red, and yellow. All right, you will have to answer these questions. Just highlight the correct answer, A, B, C, or D. You'll need to get 3 of the 4 right to pass. And then there's some boxes at the top that you're also required to do. Just like checkpoints 1 and 3, you're going to write a 4 or 5 sentence summary. Tell me what this article is about. Kind of look at the headings, explain them. What's the big thing that we're talking about throughout the article? Make sure you do use good grammar, spelling, capital letters, all that. The gray box is just 2 sentences telling me something you liked about the article. Purple box is 1 sentence about something you did not like. And then the blue box is a sentence telling me whether you would or would not recommend this article to a friend and why, or why not.